Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Shall I start?
Yes, Dr. Fadila.
I can start, huh? Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. On behalf of the President of ICYF, His Excellency, Mr. Taha Ayhan, and on behalf of the ICYF team, it is my pleasure to offer you my best wishes and prayers for your continued health and happiness in this blessed month of Ramadan, in a very special global conditions. It also gives me an honor to introduce ICYF to our audience. The Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum is an international affiliated to the institution to the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. The Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, ICYF, is an OIC institution working in the field of youth development in OIC member states. The aim is to set the further developed youth capacities in all fields and is driven by the spirit of Islamic values and culture. This is achieved through professional programs and projects aimed at enhancing youth education, intellectualism, leadership, innovation, building platforms for personal growth, startups, entrepreneurial opportunities for youth, engagement in community building, innovation, and business initiatives, as well as combating Islamophobia and extremism. The Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum is well placed to engage youth in effective cross-cultural civilization dialogue, not to mention empowering them for the larger role in peacemaking and nation building. ICYF envisions the empowered youth throughout the OIC regions who actualize their full potential in pursuit of sustainable development for their communities, nations, and the world, driven by Islamic values of cooperation, excellence, and unity. ICYF builds the capacity of OIC youth through strategies, policy frameworks, programs, projects, furthering civic engagements, holistic education, capacity building, and best practices addressing the critical problems of unemployment and health and wellness, limited opportunities, extremism, social exclusion, while building their capacities of and intellectual and leadership development, scientific, technological, innovation, entrepreneurship, and communication, informed by shared Islamic heritage, culture, and universal values. Our approach is strategic youth development and capacity building represented in 5 main values: educate, empower, engage, and enrich and excel. Ladies and gentlemen, dear brothers and sisters, the coronavirus has disrupted the life of the communities around the globe and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. In ICYF, we continue to work very hard to stay connected to our young people. We work to switch to the online platforms, and alhamdulillah, today, many of our programs are available online for also the interaction with our young people. Today, ICYF is launching a special edition talks series with the great honor hosting His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Gaaloul, the Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports of Tunisia, as it is the first speaker of this series. You are welcome, Excellency.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's an honor having you, Excellency, and please give me the honor to introduce you to our audience.
Thank you.
Through a lineup of distinguished experts, this series will bring you a unique and compelling in-depth perspectives on the emerging outbreak and effects on the future of global economies, culture, diplomacy, politics, cooperation, and newly emerging priorities in transforming world. This series will also help underline the crucial role of the community involvement and youth volunteerism in response to unprecedented challenges posed by the outbreak, in addition to insights on where their roles may prove most effective in containing the consequences of this coronavirus. It is with the pride that we began with none of other than His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Gaaloul, Tunisian Ministers of Youth and Sports, graduate in philosophy from Mohammed Al Khamis University, with his master's and PhD in the School of Oriental and African Studies, London. He served as the advisor on youth and sports for the president of Al-Nahda, Rashid Al-Ghannouchi. His Excellency is the former advisor to the head of government on youth and sports issues. His Excellency also, he's an established academician who lectured in the field of Islamic studies at the European Academy for Islamic Studies, London, and also at the University Reading, an extension of University of Oxford College. His Excellency Ahmed Gaaloul has carried out extensive research in English and Arabic in the field of politics, philosophy, and Islam. In this session, His Excellency discusses a pressing topic, and that is the role of youth in rebuilding the economy in post-corona world. His Excellency, thank you for being with us today. The virtual floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Fadila. And thank you for ICYF for organizing this important conference. And it's good that we have a technology which allows us to connect and to contact each other and to exchange our ideas and thoughts. I hope that I will not be long, and I hope that what I will deliver will at least raise some questions which we need, or maybe try to answer those questions. The issue about which I have, or I am going to speak, is the role of youth in rebuilding the economy in the post-corona world. Well, this supposes that we have this question: what is the role of youth in rebuilding the economy in the post-corona world? I will try to answer this question, first of all, by approaching some concepts. Later on, my approach, I'm not a person of economy. I'm mainly a politician and maybe a philosopher, if you could say so. So my approach will be from that side, rather from the side of someone who is able and who is technically specialized in economy. I'm not going to speak about economy as such. However, we can speak about policies in economy and the role of youth, if we can use the term in this way. The question will be in this, when we ask what is the role of youth in rebuilding the economy in the post-corona world, this question supposes that there is, or there will be, a collapse of economy, which needs to be rebuilt. However, I don't think that the case will be such. Some economies might flourish after this crisis. Others might become weak, or maybe others also will perish. It might be also important to define what do we exactly mean by youth. Why are we asking what is the role of youth? If we are to define youth is a stage of life. It is a stage in our biological cycle of life. So we could have made the question in this way: what is the role of infant or adults in rebuilding the economy in the aftermath of Corona? So why are we asking or directing the question towards youth? Directing the question towards youth supposes or presupposes that there is indeed a crisis in this segment of our life, of our life cycle. This crisis, I mean, everyone knows that, especially in our Muslim world and Muslim countries, we are here in Africa, in Arab world, in Asia, almost in all continents of the world. Most of our countries, our youth suffer from, if you could say, alienation, from marginalization. I mean, we could say that they do not have the opportunity to participate in public life, let alone to build an economic system or a political system or a state. So that is why the question seems legitimate. What is the role of youth in rebuilding the economy in the aftermath of Corona? This means also that we do need a role for youth, and we do need a different word. For a different word, youth are in the front line in building new world, in bringing change, bringing about change. What about the term of economy? I mean, building an economy. I mean, for me, it seems a bit strange to ask this question, because there is no such one system in the world which we can describe or brand as economy. There are many economic systems in the world, not just one system. However, one can speak of a common trait or aspect of what might be described modern economies. And that these aspects, if I could summarize them in three aspects, that is the ability to overexploit resources. Secondly, the ability to overproduce needs, and thirdly, and most importantly, the ability to accumulate and monopolize wealth and resources. So three main aspects of our modern time economy. And if I could repeat, that is the ability to overexploit resources, to extract them, the ability to overproduce, and the ability to accumulate, monopolize wealth and resources. It's worth to note that also economy will not fall or collapse because of a crisis, whether it is a pandemic or war. A crisis might make a system of economy or an economy stronger. It might weaken it, or it might basically kill it. So what are the agents which will strengthen an economy, or which will, when facing a difficulty? If we compare an economic system or society or state to, if we use the same analogy which Ibn Khaldun used to be using, and when he compares the biological life to the system of society and state. So Ibn Khaldun speaks about a cycle of life, a biological cycle of life, not only for our human bodies, but also for our societies. I think the same analogy can be applied on economic systems, not only economic system, it can be applied even for a rational system, we could say. So there are ideas which will get birth, they will grow, and then they will start to be aging. The same thing happens to economy as a system which is based in a society. So if we have Corona, a system which is healthy will be able to reproduce antibodies, and then hence it will become stronger. If it is a weak or an aged or overaged system, it will be in danger of perishing. So that system, unless it has a young generation which will be able to take over, that system will perish. And this brings us to the importance of youth in renovating and rebuilding any system, and especially economic system. However, it's not only about economy. Economy is not just the way we exchange wealth or resources. Economy is like any other system. It is based on ways of exchanging, extracting, accumulating wealth for an individual or a country or a region, but also that economy is governed by a system of values and ideas. So for any system, let's say of power or society, it has at least 5 levels, 5 layers. The top layer will be the layer of values. Underneath it, we will have the layer of ideas. Beneath the layer of ideas, we will have structure, a structure which will mirror the system of values and ideas. Behind the structure, we will have individuals, that is population, and resources. Economy resides within the system of ideas and structures. People, that is the population, will use their system of values, idea, and the structure they are organized within, and the laws, system of law, and so on, to exploit and to build resources and wealth. If the system of values is aging, this means that our idea will not be able to work anymore. Our society will not be able to bring new ideas anymore. And this will bring an economic system into the merge of perishing. If our society is young enough to tolerate our youth, our new ideas, then that society will be able to resist, and it will be resilient to a crisis, whether it is corona or war or an economic system. In our world, we have, as I've said, different systems. Since the beginning of the new century, there are new countries, new geopolitical countries and economic systems that are rising. And beside those systems, there is what an old world system, world order, that is using an economic system which is based on monopoly, as I have said, and the ability to exploit natural resources. And this is creating a lot of problem in the world. And this is even contradicting the values of what we might call the Western civilization. For the first time in centuries, the Western civilization is facing a crisis of values. This is leading to a crisis of idea, and this is also leading to a crisis of bringing about solutions, whether those are political, economic solutions or political solution to the economic crisis. So economy is the main facade, if we can say, of the crisis of ideas and values the human society, if we could say, is facing. During Corona, the behavior of many countries is different. Some countries are closing their borders, and they are digging even deeper within the old system of values and ideas. And I mean, they are closing their borders, they are accumulating all what might be wealth for themselves, while we can see at the same time other countries opening their borders, helping other countries, making charity, wide social behavior within their own social system, allowing youth to be part of the campaign of helping others and youth associations and to be volunteers and so on, allowing those youth to bring about new ideas in communication, bringing platforms, communicating with the world. So we have two systems. And in my view, those societies and those countries which are able to raise to a higher level of values, and I think us as Muslim countries are more capable of rising to such level of values, because Islam, educates us to bring good for all mankind. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I mean, that is the Lord of all mankind. He did not say that praise to God, the Lord of the Muslims or the white or of male or female or those who are from Africa or America. It's for all mankind, not only for Muslims or Jewish or non-believers. So the idea of praising Allah, the Lord, is that He is the Lord of all. And we are obliged as Muslims to try to bring good for all mankind, whatever their colors, whatever their beliefs, whatever their appartenance, their regions. If though it is those countries and those economic initiatives which will be able to widen the concept of humanity, I think those will be able to rebuild what we might call economy for the future. This is because what we are used to describe as a national state, the concept of national state restricts the appartenance to its citizens. While right now we can see, especially via the progress of communication, that we can speak about a global citizen rather than national citizens. We all see in our home our young ones communicating with their friends from all around the world. When they put their headset and they get into the world of internet, the virtual world, they will communicate with everyone. So humanity is moving towards what we can call a global citizen. And we need universal values. But we need those universal values to be really applied, legitimately applied on the ground. And the world now lives into a contradiction of values. We have the values of national state, which are values of discrimination, while we are praising the values of human rights and global citizenship. The world cannot tolerate any more such contradictions. So societies which will be able to rise up to this level of values will be able to create new opportunities, new economic opportunities. And I think a state or our states have the obligation to reform their legislation in order to allow our youth to bring about change, to bring about new projects, even to partner with them in the venture of investing in new business ideas. We can even create a bank for innovative business ideas, whatever their ideas seems to be crazy or irrational. Indeed, the values of their ideas resides in their irrationality. It is that aspect which make them able to bring change and innovation. We need to make sure that we are all working according to our adequate values. Otherwise, I fear that our world is lured to be more conservative and to be more stubborn, centralized, and coercive system, meaning that we might be moving towards conflict and war. So our youth are really our guarantee towards the future. We need to give them, us, if we could say, the state, the adult system, we need to give them the ability to express themselves. We need to change the legislative law so that they can move physically from one country to another and to loosen those borders between countries and nations. And also to allow them to exchange wealth from one country to another. And also to exchange their effort in order to bring new ideas. We as Muslim countries do have a golden mine which resides in our Islamic values. Those values are humane values. they have no discrimination. And we are praised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of our ability to bring good to earth and to all mankind, to bring peace on this earth and to all mankind, but not only to all mankind, to earth, to nature. If we are successful, if our youth is successful in bringing about and widening the range of our values, our economic system will be able to survive and to gain more resilience. Those countries which are behaving right now during the crisis according to those values, that is charity, expanding wealth, giving to the needy, helping the needy, and safeguarding all our society, especially the weak. It is those countries which will be able to make their economic system resilient, because their society will not get out of this crisis fragmented. So it is those countries which are able right now to venture, to make some risks, because this is the main aspect of youth. It is taking risks and venturing. A state need, a young state, if we could say, need to be a young, youthful, and to have young values and to have youth within it, so that it will be able to overcome such crisis. It is our behavior right now during the crisis which will allow us to speak about a role for the future. So we need youth, and I mean by youth right now not only the age, but I mean by it also values, ideas, structure, and behavior, because the term youth does not only apply to a stage in our life. We can have a young person behaving according to an aging system. That young person will not be able to bring about change. So we need all this system. That is why, and I will finish by this, education comes here as something which is very important. If our states, if us, I mean the Muslim states, do not venture in securing the education for our youth and our young ones, we will not be able to bring a real young society, because we will be, filling their minds and hearts with an aging system of ideas and thoughts. And this behavior is alienating more and more our young societies, and our kids in our homes, they are turning away from our system of education, from our system of communication, from our system of media, because they do not see in what we are giving them what they need. They do not see in it change. What they see in it is an authoritarian system which tries to bring a society like a merchandise and a more conservative society. Youth around the world, not only Muslim world, they are seeking right now change. They are seeking from us to listen to them and to allow them to experience their irrationality, because this is the way how they will help us build the future. So the role of youth, if we could say, in rebuilding the economy, and I mean here by universal economy, not just one country or another, I mean meaning the humankind, they are the bodies, the antibodies in our body. They will fight the virus. They'll bring more immune and resistant body. They will bring about new cells in our body that is securing our future. And they will also replace aging and dead cells in our body. And this is how our humanity and our societies will be able to survive this crisis. But all of this will not be able to be achieved unless we have the adequate system of values, thoughts, and hence structure, part of which is economy. I will, end by this, and I'm open to your questions, which will allow us maybe to expand more in some of the areas which are of importance for you. Thank you.
First of all, Excellency, let me thank you enormously for this comprehensive presentation that you shed light on many aspects of the future building and economic future. Even you said about yourself humbly that you're not in economics, but you did actually, from your own perspective as a thinker, an academician, and a politician also, shared some of the insights, your insights about the post-corona world. As you know, Excellency, just a few months ago, our theories, our expectations, our understanding to the world was totally different. And this pandemic came to change our perspectives, to change our views about so many things. I am very glad that you brought in the theory of Ibn Khaldun on these aspects, and I am also looking at, you are very optimistic to apply the theory of Ibn Khaldun to the Muslim world in this post-coronavirus. Let us hear more from you. How do you see the Asabiya will apply to the Muslim world in the post-coronavirus? As you know, Excellency, the region of OIC is actually a youthful region. And this, according to your presentation, makes us out of danger. Is this, according to your reading to the post-corona world, means that the future is at the hand of the Muslim world? How do you see the cooperation between the Muslim world countries? Are they going to come stronger after this pandemic and this crisis? I have a few questions also coming from young people about Tunisia. After the revolution in Tunisia, recovering from the revolution, getting some stability. What do you think about the role of the young people in Tunisia and in the process of the post-corona? Maybe you could share with us some of the initiatives and the roles played by young people in your communities. Also, there are questions about what are the cooperations that were developed during this pandemic between you and some of the member states. Let's say, for example, with Turkey, with other member states, and why is it high time right now for so many of the Muslim world countries that they are getting more together? You spoke also about innovation, and it's time to let youth share their ideas, their perspectives, their innovations and their projects. Could you please share with us some models from Tunisia? And we would like also, there are many Turkish audience with us today and media also. We would like you also to shed light about the relation, Turkish-Tunisian relations in relation to youth cooperation, economic cooperation, and other aspects of cooperation. So this is the first round of questions, Excellency, and then we will come up, inshallah, to the second one. Please, the virtual floor is yours.
I would like, first of all, to question a term which we are using right now, which is a Muslim world. I mean, I am not really at ease with this description, because we cannot describe a region as being Muslim or non-Muslim. Yes, politically, we are speaking of countries which where Islam is part of it or is a majority. But I think this is anti-Islamic values. I mean, we would say a Muslim world is a human world, wherever we are. So this is just an approach, and I think we need to go beyond these values, which will put us within borders, and which will discriminate between us and other human beings. As I said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. He did not say praise to the Lord because he is the Lord of Muslims or non-Muslims. So it is Rabbil Alameen. And I think we need, and our ancestors did not stop from moving around the globe from one country to another. I mean, while stopping to the borders what we might right now describe as a Muslim world. So if we are going to do something, we need to do it under the value of having the obligation to bring good to all mankind. So this is something. I mean, the concept of Asabiya, which Ibn Khaldun is using, we need either to use it to refer to the actual basic kinship between mankind that is based on the blood relationship. However, the term Asabiya can be expanded to a wide range, not only on the base of kinship, that is the blood relationship, but the term Asabiya refers to the group of people who will basically form a state. And it can be even a political party, or it can be a state without political party. A state is a form of Asabiya. And I think we still need political parties and we still need states. And right now, the role of states is very important because it is this state and this type of Asabiya which will bring about new legislations and which will behave according to what humanity needs right now. I mean, this is one of the rare moments in history where all humanity faces the same danger. And it has something good in it. I mean, the good side of it is that we are all, the powerful and the weak, facing the same danger. So this is an opportunity for us to unite really in order to face this danger. It's not the time to close our doors behind what we might describe as any type of Asabiya. Yes, we need to cope, and in this way we cannot, restrict our policies in cooperation with other countries to the Muslim world. Those countries which we describe ourselves as part of the Muslim world, we need to behave in such a way so that we are open to all other countries. This will allow us to have a better progress and to get out of the stage of takhalluf, regress to the stage of progress. So we need to open and not to fear our openness, because other countries are moving towards closing their doors, and this will not allow them to progress. This will not allow them to be a progress country. It is those countries which will venture in opening, in the openness. It is those countries which will be able to resist and be able to be more resilient. And this is one major aspect of youth, that is venturing. What is the role of youth in Tunisia? Well, we need to be humble towards what we might describe how fast history or change can happen. I mean, the conservative system, conservativeness, if you could say, or adulthood, is very conservative. Up to now, we are not successful enough, and I speak about my country, we are not successful enough in allowing youth to take a real part of leadership in rebuilding not only our economic system, but all our country, all the political system, social values. History moves very slow. Some countries took them 150 years to move from one state to the other after revolution, and I mean here the French Revolution. But I think we will be able to move faster here in Tunisia. I mean, what's important right now, especially when we see the time of Corona, is the role of youth in bringing new ideas and new tools. Most of the tools which the state is using right now is being built and forced by young ones from outside the system. Applications, softwares which allow ministers to communicate between each other, and which allows us to manage the social movement during the time of crisis. Volunteers, we have thousands of volunteers who are there on the street helping the needy, and those are young ones mainly. So the youth, our young population here, is leading the way for us, the adult, in order to fight Corona and to fight the crisis. I hope that after the crisis, we responsible people in the state will be able to really give them what they need, the space they need, the authority and the power they need in order to become more active. In this crisis, we need to go back to our basics to secure food for everyone, but also we need to use new technologies. And we have all the ingredients, not only in Tunisia. And I think this applies to most of the African countries, most of the Arab countries and Asian countries. We have, our population is mostly more than 70% of youth. That's why I have concluded before that I said states and political people, men of states, need to change the legislation in order to allow those young ones to venture new ideas, new economic ideas, and to communicate and to exchange money, because we are making too much borders and too much restrictions on the movement of ideas, wealth, and the physical movement of the people. I mean, our young ones right now, in order to move from one country to the other ones, they will have to venture in crossing the desert or the sea, and maybe at the end they will face death before they reach the northern border. And this should not allow us to rest unless we are capable of really showing them that their country is a country which is worth living in. They do not need to leave their country and to face death. I'm sorry. Sorry, if you could take on and then.
It's okay, Excellency. I will give you a minute, and I really appreciate your truthfulness and your sincere feelings and the way you are addressing the issues and the way you are speaking about a very inclusive approach, about a universal mankind shared value that we are actually sharing these platforms, that we are really thinking together. At the same time, it's a global culture of sharing and helping and extending hands to each other. And for that time, hard time, we see our young people beautifully coming out to help humanity, regardless of their religions and cultures. We are all following the initiatives of youth and communities in the non-Muslim communities, and it's very, we are very proud to see that our Muslim youth actually are coming out to have these universal values more than us, more than any other generation. And this is beautiful, actually, expectations that we didn't actually have of them. We see also some of the Muslim world countries, leading Muslim world countries like Turkey, reaching out to the most affected countries like US and Italy and Britain and sending help. And this is all actually a good example of what you have been talking about. When we say the Muslim world, it's not exclusive. It's actually, we are opening the doors to be together. There is no other. We are all together in one. And in this regard, I'm having a very good questions from young people. One of them is, what's the role of youth in the transformation of our communities? Excellency, do you see or do you think that youth will have really the chance to lead for better policies for youth in the coming time? It's by Yunus from Morocco. Also, there is another question saying, what is the biggest challenge that you think young people will face? And then how to deal with the fear, because there is so much out there giving too much fear to young people, that the future is unstable, you will lose jobs, there was a lot of unemployment, and the revolution of technology will take out the jobs from the youth, and so many dark actually views, very pessimistic views out there that is affecting our young people and for their well-being and for their health. We want our young people also to listen to you as an expert, as a politician, as a youth minister. What's your perspective on the future of youth that is not dark? Please, Excellency, the floor is yours.
We have to be honest with ourselves and our youth. I mean, all humanity will be going through some hard time, and so we are either really going through a time of conflicts, or we will be able to prosper. Ahmed Gaaloul, in one of his books, when describing the economic system, liberal system, he says that it's like a system which will take wars and it will bring them to a home, so they will become civil wars. However, he said, once those wars become hungry, they will get out to seek praise again for hunting. And because of the economic crisis which started and which has really exploded 2008, the behavior of states around the world is tending to be more, if you could, animal or savage behavior, very aggressive. So all countries, they are seeking to have a grip of the wealth in whatever country the wealth exists. That is why Africa and the Middle and the Muslim and the Arab world and Asia will be the areas or the regions of most of the conflicts which are happening in the world. And sadly, we, the Muslim world, do reside in these areas of conflict. However, as I've said, I mean, history, there is a cycle of history. And I think that such a cycle is turning to an end, if you could say, and maybe a new cycle for humanity is starting. And young generation, they do have the opportunity right now, a very peculiar opportunity, which not happen maybe in other 100 or even 300 years, to do something which will change the future of their country, of the world for the next, let's say, 100 to 200 years. What we are doing right now is we are refunding a new cycle of the world. That's why I was insisting on the idea of values, because it is those values which will enable us to create new ideas, new thought, new system of rationalism, if you can say, and this will allow us to build any system, whether political system or economic system. And these ideas, as we can see, humanity throughout its history has progressed from the tribal age to nation age to empire age, and now well, the concept of nation has gone back, but it's not nationalist in that way, blood kinship way. Now I think we are moving towards a more universal world, and that is, I mean, that goes along with our values as Muslims. We have no problem. We should be in the front line of humanity in leading them towards a better world. So there is nothing which can stop our fears. There is nothing. I mean, there is no guarantee. The only guarantee is what you, as young ones, believe in yourself and trust in yourself, and having the belief that you will be, they are able to succeed, and you have a role in this life. Your role in this life is that you need to create civilization. Creating civilization means that we need to create to add something to the nature so the world becomes a better place to live in. Right now, all the world is in danger. It's not only the Muslims which are aware of that, and all mankind, all your generation is aware that the world is in danger. So I think we have the opportunity to move hand in hand with all those people which shares our values in making this world a better place. There is nothing which can say no, it will be safe. No, it will not be safe. There are dangers, and we need to have the courage in facing those dangers and changing the reality in order to be able to live in a better world. And this is our duty. We do not have the choice or the luxury to evade it. So we either face it and succeed, or try to evade it and then become victims of what's going to happen. And I think you do have, and we do have enough courage to face all those problems.
Thank you very much, Excellency. And I hope you have a little bit more time to respond to our questions from our young people. And I also ask our young people, please, if you have any questions, I will be taking the final ones after this question. So please put your questions. There is a question, Excellency, about the youth and agriculture and employment. How can this field be actually a potential for young people who are having big fear from the employment? This is from Jordan, Nazir from Jordan. Also, there is a question, what is the role of, another thing about agriculture, looks like our young people are too much interested into the natural resources, and Alhamdulillah, Muslim world is really full of natural resources. He's asking also the role of agriculture in limiting economic challenges in the Muslim world, and employment, and enhancing the output of self-sufficiency to the Muslim world. And when we say the Muslim world, Excellency, we are really trying, because we are an institution that we are serving in the OIC geography. We are bounded by a relationship that is a political relationship, that is something that brings us together. We don't mean to not do anything else. We have also to cover for the Muslim youth in all the communities around the world. But we see that there is a challenge in this region more than anywhere else, or that's actually what our young people believe. So now the issue of agriculture, there is also a question about education. There is a transformation about education, and there is unlimited resources in most of the OIC region, who are less developed countries. So how do you see the future of education in the post-pandemic? And do you have any insights on how these parts of the world can cope with the fast technologies that we don't own? And how can our young people actually cope with that? Please, Excellency, we will take another 2 questions at the end of the answers from His Excellency, and we will, inshallah, come to the end of this session. Please, the floor is yours.
I think we do have problem with our educational system. Most of what we are teaching to our kids does not really answer the needs of our economic system. Many of our countries, their educational system produces individuals that can serve an economic system of another country, a country which is dominating that country. And that is why we do have a serious issue with unemployment, because our educational system is not building a citizen to our countries. A young, let me not state any example, but I think the idea is quite clear. It is an opportunity for us right now to change that educational system, so that when we have an engineer or a doctor or a teacher or whatever, or a builder, he will be formed so that he can live in his country and he can produce what is needed by his people and by his co-citizens. So first of all, we need to change that system of education. We are also in need of changing the training of our young ones so that they are more ready to the future and also more open to the future. Unfortunately, our educational system right now just produces individuals who can be like a part of a machine. And we are not really giving them the tools which will enable them to become leaders. So we need also to change that. We have a lot of work to do for our educational system. I don't think that our young are pride from technology. They are quite advanced and maybe far ahead of us in gaining and building I mean mastering new technologies. Most of the future technologies is going to the virtual world, virtual printing. I mean all these things, medicine, agriculture. The world is moving there, and our young generation is quite trained in the digital world. It is our states and our governments which needs to reform themselves so that they are in line with the future, they are in line with their youth. Is there hope for that? Yes, there is hope. There is a lot of hope because there is a lot of changes, a lot of things which are happening in our Arab and Muslim world, whether in Africa, in the Middle East, or in Asia. There is a lot of change which is happening during the last 20 years. And in that, I don't have fears. Part of what we need is cooperation between what we describe, what we brand our Muslim countries. So we need to start, for example, to have cooperation between, let's say, Tunisia, Algeria, Libya, Morocco, Mauritania. So we have a big society which will be more than 150 million rather than having small countries with 6 or 10 millions or even 40 million. We cannot face the challenges of the economy which are there with these type of borders. So we need to work and to cooperate with each other. This does not mean that we are closing our borders, but this means that we will be able to be stronger and to help better and to open without fear. So this is my answer to both of your questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Excellency. Please bear with us. We have more questions coming up from our young people. I hope, inshallah, you can stay a little bit more with us to address them. There is a question from Fahmida Faiza, National Coordinator Model OIC Bangladesh. She said, Excellency, thank you for your valuable insights. I would like to ask you, how do you think youth employment can be resolved by the governments around the world post-COVID situation, since many of the students lost their part-time jobs to sustain themselves? Another question coming saying, what do you think about the democratization process of the world after Corona, post-Corona? Do we expect more civic engagement and engagements of youth in the democratic process in most of the, I mean, in the region and in Tunisia in particular? I asked you a question earlier, and it's coming back, the question about how actually how can you see the future of cooperation between Tunisia and Turkey youth cooperation? And this looks like from Turkish friends. We have also a question from Mohammed Suhailu Abu Bakr. We have to compliment our young people and read their questions as is. We have very competent youth across the globe. That was a new idea that can strengthen the economy, but are not given the opportunity to take part in that regard. So how can we play a role in economic development? He wants to say that we're not given a chance. Summer Zakri said, what do you think about the inventions that are occurred during this crisis by young people in Tunisia? And we saw the robots in Tunisia going into the communities and checking for the sick people. I think that's what she means by this question. And one more question, Excellency. I try to not miss any question. I think that's good enough. One more question, Excellency, is related to the well-being of youth in Tunisia. Is any program, is anything going on related to taking care of the well-being of youth? And what is the format of volunteerism that is taking place under your ministry, if anything that you would like to share with us? Thank you. And if I don't have any questions, it would be your last session, please. So take your time to reply to these questions.
Well, let me start with the cooperation with Turkey. I mean, Turkey is in geopolitics, is at the heart of the power balance of the world. And Turkey, it has a long history with North Africa. A lot of, there is in our society some cities where most of the families are of Turkish origin. So we have a history which goes along, whether from before the independence or through the time of Bourguiba or through the time of the previous regime, of a long path of cooperation between the Tunisian state and the Turkish state, the Tunisian government and the Turkish government. And after the revolution, the Tunisian government is trying to strengthen all those ties. And I think that we need to have more exchange between our youth, whether the Tunisian or North African youth and the Turkish youth, because what unites us, history unites us, our interest also unites us, and also, most importantly, the future unites us. And we need to build stronger ties between the countries, North African countries, and our country in Tunisia, with Turkey and all the countries of the Muslim world, while preserving our also historical ties with the European countries and African countries. The voluntarism or voluntaria is very important during the time of crisis. And as I've told you, if it was not because of the hard work of our volunteers, which are there days and nights, and they are volunteers, they are not being paid for what they are doing, I don't think that us in Tunisia will be able to make what I hope will be such a success in fighting the corona. I mean, as I said, we have tens of thousands of volunteers. They are there at the hospitals, at the municipalities, and they are getting trained right now to participate with the public transport. They are there to help the needy, bringing them food or collecting goods from the wealthy so that they give them to the needy. So our volunteers, our youth, they are there every time, and I am lucky to be at this time in this position to interact with those youth organizations here in Tunisia, and I'm quite really proud of what they are doing. Something which we Tunisians are proud of also is the ability and creativity of our young ones, whether by building robots or applications or softwares, which is helping all our ministry. Even the Minister of Health is using creations and innovations of our young ones, individuals, in helping the health system in order to deal with these difficulties in this time. Not only are they doing that, they are even building machines for respiration, and this is all the creation of our young ones. and they are building, as I said, a system of management of work tasks and so on. So we have a lot of creation and innovation from our young ones, and they are doing that as volunteers. I think, and I do believe, that this is not only happening in Tunisia, it is happening all over the Muslim world, because we have those values which enables us, we are inheriting as Muslims those values which are enabling us to stand by each other. And this, as I said, will enable us to go towards the future. I mean, for employment, this is a serious issue. We really need to change this economic system, which defines an individual as being employed and another one as being unemployed. I don't want to give good words, but I think this will take time. It will take time. This is part of the conflict, but we have to face it. We as responsibles need to do something. Part of that something is changing the legislation and daring to change, daring to venture in order to bring what these youths are worthy of. And that's why I, as a responsible, I feel that I have a lot of work, a lot of duties towards my young citizens in order to be up to their expectations. And for that, I am ready to venture and to fight for them. Because if I don't do that, I don't think that I am worthy of sitting on this chair right now and addressing you as a Minister of Sports and Youth. I think your mic is off, Fadila.
Thank you very much, Excellency. I would like to say that it's very beautiful and very good to see a minister who is willing to venture and sacrifice for the youth and to be actually honored to serve the young people of his country. And we are very honored to have you with us today. It was a great session that we learned so much from you, Excellency, and your deep insights in the future. It was very comprehensive, it was very fruitful, and it was a complete meal that you touched many aspects of the topic that we did not expect that much, but you did enrich it and you gave us a lot of good ideas to feed our young people. I would like also on behalf of Mr. President, His Excellency Taha Ayhan, to extend his thankfulness, gratefulness, and also the ICYF team for accepting our invitation, for being with us online, and for continuing to cooperate with ICYF as one of the ICYF wonderful ministers who are there to hold the hand and to do great cooperation for the purpose of empowering our young people across the OIC region. For that purpose, we look forward to have you again. This is just the beginning to talk about topics you prefer to talk. Maybe next time it will not be about economic future. We will give you a chance to talk about other favorite topics of yours. But we are very satisfied and we are very happy to have you today. And thank you very much again on my behalf and the whole team of ICYF. And dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I would like at the end of this session to invite you to join us for our ICYF online programs. As I said in the beginning, we switched to the online programs. First one, we have these talks that we launched today, where the youth will interact directly with international high-profile speakers, experts, decision makers, those engaging in OIC geography, to learn so much from them and their expertise. We also launching, as you can see in our social medias, the second Islamic Intellectual Heritage, which is a very rich program that seeks to promote awareness about the Muslim intellectual and scientific contributions to the humanity and civilizations. We have also Ideathon challenge, which aims to collect the best experiences, actions, initiatives of youth, and it's in coordination with a few great partners of ours. Please visit our social media to find out more about this great challenge. And also we are launching very soon our training program that's also fully online, and it's open right now for registration. It is great guidance and lots of knowledge from great experts from all around the world, which will help our young people to actually be playing their role during and post-pandemic. The last is please also look to our journey through the Quran. That is a special program for Ramadan, which is the world first digital Quran course covering 114 surahs in just 6 days. So we welcome all of you to apply to these programs and to be following on our social media for further programs that are coming up. The team of ICYF wish to all of you great Ramadan, great fasting. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our deeds. Excellency, Mr. the Minister, have a wonderful evening and صحة فطوركم.
Thank you very much. صحة فطوركم. شكرا.
السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم everyone.
عليكم.